Good early Tuesday afternoon, everybody. It is a beautiful, blessed day, sunny day here in Oklahoma City. Hello, Daldul. Correct me if I am mispronouncing your name, but glad that you have joined us. It's been a while. I just checked out the last live stream that we had done, which was on November 29th. So, there's been a lot going on since November 29th of last year, 5-6 months ago. I am not drinking decaf coffee today. I am drinking sugar-free A&W root beer. The professor joins us. Maybe he will appreciate that. Hello, Gary. How are things going today? Did you ever get your lid switched out on your Windmaster lighter? I've got a bunch of butane lighters out here, and I'll keep up with the live stream like we typically do, or the live chat, I should say, like we typically do while I'm refueling these. So you guys feel free to ask whatever you want to ask. It's just something that I had been meaning to get to. I've got two of these here that I use on a regular basis, and that one's a little wonky sometimes. Flame isn't. Maybe it's just the adjustment, but the flame on this one is kind of weird. But those are the two I've been using. I've got these other four. I need to have more than just the two at my disposal, so we're going to bleed the tanks on these and fuel them up and see which ones will work. Oh, my personal lighter collection, huh? Yeah, we might be able to get some of that out here in a second. I need to do a video on that, so I don't know, maybe you'll do me a favor here, Daldul. Maybe getting all that out is, or will help me to go ahead and make the video. Although I'm probably going to wait to make the video now that I think about it, because I've got one that should be here today or tomorrow that I definitely want in the video when I make it. I will show you my newest one, and I'll get out some of the others here in a minute once I fuel up these butane lighters. And now that I say that, I can't find the most recent edition. Been moving stuff around here all morning. I know where I put it. There it is. You didn't care for the pipe insert, huh? The hole on the pipe insert for those Windmasters is a little bit small. This is the newest edition. I don't think we've seen any video for this yet. There is an unboxing video in queue and a short in queue. And it's not perfect, but it is an automatic Penguin Cygnus advertising lighter. Just the second of those that I have had in my collection. But we'll get some more stuff out here in a minute, Daldul, once I get these butane lighters fueled up. Got a few out here, a couple of plastic pieces of junk. This one, tank broke on it. That's what typically happens. That's one reason why I stay away from those kind of lighters, other than just not liking to purchase plastic. Now this one was one that was bought on a road trip that actually works fairly well. You got to be it's kind of finicky with the adjustment. But as far as heating up dab straws, it works pretty well. That one stays in the bag to go with us when we go places. This is another one that's already fueled up. This is a lighter that was given to me by my son. Can't remember the brand. I don't know if... I think it's pretty relatively new. I think it's made to look like the ST DuPonts. The adjustment on the flame is a little finicky, and it's not a blue jet torch lighter like all these others are. But I grabbed it because we were fueling butane lighters. I thought I'd throw it out here. It's a cool lighter with a soft yellow flame. Advertising Punch cigars. I've also got a couple of these Burns-O-Matic propane torches that one of them just quit working on me. The other one, I had gotten into the habit of roasting marshmallows for my wife, and one day she did it on herself, or she decided to do it herself, and ended up getting a bunch of marshmallow melted down in there, and I tried to clean it, but it never worked again right after that. I bought another one of these after these two went out that just quit working. Within about a week of me buying it, still sitting in the vehicle ready for me to take back to Walmart. And I ended up going with their bigger, I'd say more reliable propane torch. But it puts out a big heavy jet flame. And I really liked the flame that these put out better, but I've gotten to where most of the time nowadays I will use the jet light because it doesn't heat it up quite so hot. It's not as loud as that other propane torch is. So you're asking, Daldul, can I tell you how did I get to collecting lighters and why lighters specifically? Yeah, well, I've talked about that a lot, and you can go read about it over on dependableflame.com. But just generally speaking, hey, old Arp Henningsen, glad that you have joined us. He says hello and saying hello to everybody else here as well. But getting back to you, Daldul, I think it was sometime in 2016, maybe early 2017, when I bought my first Zippo. And I could dig it out right now, but it's kind of inconvenient. It was just a plain brushed chrome 2016 model. And it was watching the show Sons of Anarchy that turned me on to Zippos. Seeing Jax Teller get off that Harley Davidson, pull his Zippo out, strike it up to light his cigarette so often on that show made me curious, so I bought one. And over just a little bit of time, that led me to eBay looking for other lighters, which led me to vintage lighters. And you know, I am a Zippo fan. I have a few Zippos in my collection. I like Zippos, but I'm not by any means strictly Zippo. My favorites would definitely be the Penguin Cygnus. I like the Thorns lighters, the semi-automatic push-button type, single claw, double claw. Another one of my very favorite lighters that I've ever owned was the Ronson Debonair. worked better than any lighter that I've ever had. Just a tremendous mechanism. But like I said, I started with the Zippo. I ended up a few months later buying 40-some Zippos from a pawn shop out in Harrow, Oklahoma for $250, and did well enough selling those lighters that kept me going, and it just kept going from there. Actually at that point, that's all I was doing. It was really just about selling lighters. It wasn't until about the summer of 2018 when I created the YouTube channel. And I really just created the YouTube channel to show, to be able to show the lighters working in my listings. But then over time, that got to the point where people were asking me to repair their lighters. And I did that by mail for a while there, but getting things back in the mail just became a chore. So transitioned to making demonstration repair videos, showing people how to re-wick this lighter or that, or to dig out the flint in this one, how to do certain operations on different lighters. And so that's what I'm doing today. And I still sell them. I collect way more now than I used to, but I'm still primarily a seller. But I do have a collection of, well, my Cygnus collection might be getting up close to 30. It's probably over 25 at this point. And then I have a few others, Zippos and other, what folks call Zippo knockoffs, Japanese-made flip-top lighters from the same period that either belonged, I have a few lighters that belonged to my father. I have some ashtrays that belonged to my grandmother. But then I bought some others that, since then, that didn't belong to any of my loved ones, but they were bought because they reminded me of them. So the Dal Dual, this lighter that you're talking about that has a leak from somewhere, is that a butane lighter? Yeah, I'm not going to be any help whatsoever with helping you fix a butane lighter. This is about as far as I go with butane is, well, we're going to leave these two alone. We know that these two work. These are two that have stayed in the bag. I'm going to go ahead and turn these down, bleed the gas out of them and fill them up. And one of the best things that I have found to use for that purpose is a dab tool. Dab tool works really well to set down there on that inlet valve and press it to bleed the gas and excess air, whatever's left in the tank, out of there. And this end right here is also pretty good for a screwdriver, but as you can see, I've got product smeared all over that end right at the moment. So we have to use this other end as a screwdriver as well, and it doesn't do too bad of a job of that. There are folks over in the some of the Facebook lighter groups, Dal Dual, and now I don't know about that particular lighter. I know a lot of the piezoelectric type lighters, they're not really repairable. Hello, Mark Burris. Glad to have you join us. Been a while. You talking about do I have any idea how to disassemble the gas portion of a butane lighter? No, I have no idea. If it is a flint sparking butane lighter, like this one, then I might be able to help you clear a flint tube. If it is an automatic lighter, like a Ronson, then I might be able to help you get the mechanism working and get it sparking right. But no, I'm as ignorant as it comes about seals and whatever else is necessary to get a butane lighter back up and running. Since I started this back in 2017, I have managed to keep my hands full enough with petrol lighters. If the time ever comes, I'm not necessarily opposed to it. It's just, it seems like really tedious work. Petrol lighters are pretty easy, and I haven't run out of petrol lighters to work on. Hey, Dylan DePie, oobla doobla. Glad to have you with us. Are you at lunch already? Did I catch you at lunch? Yeah, you saying this one looks like a ST DuPont? It's like I said, it's a pretty cool lighter. Doesn't adjust real consistently, so I don't usually mess with it. Occasionally the flame will either get too big or too small, and then I'll have to adjust it. But yeah, that's one of those that my son found and gave me. It's funny when you go to bleeding these things how that one finally seems empty. But it took way longer to bleed that one than it did the one right before it. No, Mark, I haven't been live. I talked about it a minute when I first came on. I looked at it before I did, and the last live stream we had done was November 29th. Obviously, there's a lot of gas in this one. We hadn't gone live since November 29th, which obviously a lot of stuff has happened since then. Christmas and New Year's. I had another grandchild born in early January. So I'm up to 4 grandkids now, and been very busy with them. Every other week I'm watching 2 of them when my daughter is at work. So that has taken a lot of my time lately, but I have managed during the previous time before she went back to work to get enough videos in queue. I think I'm scheduled out through I think almost the end of June with the long form videos, and I am, I don't know, about 7 or 8 days ahead on short videos. So the way it's looking right at the moment, you guys should be able to expect a regular long form video and a short every day, Monday through Friday. And then, like I said, I've just been meaning to get on here and maybe have a little conversation while I was purging the fuel out of these butane lighters and refilling them. So try to throw in a live stream every now and then as well if we can. Hopefully we have as many of the old gang show up, and maybe some new faces as well. Since we last talked, I don't think when we did the last live stream, I don't think I was on TikTok yet or Instagram. For now, I was regularly posting over on both of those. Haven't been here as much lately, but you'll see videos on TikTok and Instagram as well. Boy, these last 2 really had a lot of fuel in them. It was just itching to escape. Hello, Natsu. Glad that you have joined us. What is your question? I would love to give it a shot, and if I'm not able to, maybe somebody else here can help as well. Daldul asks about, can I tell some personal stuff about me? Yeah, I feel like I talk about personal stuff all the time, the way that this business has been set up. I haven't been able to list any lighters for sale here for the last couple of weeks because when I went to list a cool little Champ Austria lighter that you probably have seen a video for a few weeks ago, I got a message on the eBay interface telling me that the charity that my auctions benefit, Huntington's Disease Society of America, was no longer registered with eBay. So I had to get a hold of HDSA, the charity, and they have assured me that they got the problem solved and it should be corrected probably another week or so. But the reason that I do that, the reason that all of our listings, everything we sell here at dependable.flame.com goes to or benefits HDSA, 10% of every listing. And then we run other auctions where 100% of those listings go to the charity. And, you know, it's just a small part of what I can do to support that charity. With that disease having killed my father back in 2017. But, you know, it adds up. It's been thousands of dollars that we have donated through eBay. It's a really cool program that they have where you can determine anywhere from 10 all the way up to 100% of any listing that you put up there, how much of it is going to benefit that charity. You know, and it's everything I'm telling you here is you can probably go over to the website and read in a little bit greater detail if you're more interested. But that disease is a disease that is hereditary. And if you have a parent that has it, then each child of that parent will have a 50% chance that they have it themselves. I was tested for that disease back in 2017, right after my father passed, and I don't have it. I only have one brother, and he was tested just shortly before I was. He doesn't have it either, so that was a blessing, and glad that our family no longer has to deal with that. But it's a disease that so many families, it just infects generation after generation after generation. And you have children taking care of parents who are dying from this disease and being robbed of their dignity, which is what that disease does. And then they turn around and their children are taking care of them as they're suffering from it themselves. It's just a vicious cycle. And for whatever reason, in a lot of families, there is no awareness. They make the decision to bury their head in the sand and not talk about it, not take any precautions, or really change anything about their way that they live their life regarding that disease. And in so doing, then it just keeps getting passed on and on. And it's really kind of weird with my dad's experience with that disease also, because he had 6 other siblings, 7 in total. One died as a child, but the others all lived to be ripe old, to ripe old ages, I should say. And none of his other siblings had it, at least that I'm aware of. So, kind of strange how it happened with my dad. Not the typical experience with that disease, but I've also got this Zippo single flame butane torch, which I messed with it. It wasn't working right. Overall, not a huge fan of that one. This was a really cool lighter when I got it. Similar to the green one, it was purchased on a road trip. This one from a guitar, or not a guitar store, cigar store. And the piezo on it when I first got it was just about as sweet as any I'd ever encountered. Most of them are so stiff. This plastic one that I showed you a while ago, you gotta really use some force to snap that thing. This one was really smooth, but I ended up putting that one through the washing machine, so it's probably my fault that now it doesn't work at all. Several months now. But that's kind of my experience with most butane lighters, is sooner or later they're just going to crap out. And now keep in mind, I've never had a high quality butane lighter like a ST DuPont or a Dunhill roller gas or anything like that. Really the best, most dependable butane lighters I've had are these jet lights. So anyway, we're going to fuel these up here in a minute. Let me look back through the live chat here and see what everybody's been saying. Yeah, I don't mind sharing information about myself, Daldul. Like I said, I think most of that stuff you can go and read over on the website. You know, I'm just a guy that spent 25 years at the U.S. Postal Service. I am medically retired from there and make a little bit of money on the side here selling lighters. I also make demonstration repair videos for vintage lighters, and I write about them over on the website. But you know, my schedule is sort of, it's nice being my own boss. It enables me to spend the time with my grandkids and family that I'd like to. So yeah, really thankful to be in the position that I am in now. Yeah, we certainly have had some storms. I forget what they said. They told us, they said on the news last night how many it had been so far this year, Mark, and it hadn't been nothing. You know, there's years where it feels like it's, for whatever reason, it's just, you know, nothing major happens. But so far this year, there's been several. We had at least 2 big outbreaks, and yeah, nothing real close. The one that, I guess there was one that hit Sunday night up somewhere in Lincoln County, somewhere up just north of Stillwater, that it sounded like was probably the same storm that came through here. But historically speaking, I don't think a tornado has ever hit downtown Oklahoma City, or even really Oklahoma City proper. Trying to remember now. I don't think that I've ever read any instructions on how long you're actually supposed to pump fuel into these jet lights. So I usually just do it a couple of times for about 10 seconds or so. So Natsu, you emailed me yesterday with that question, or maybe it was the website. I remember reading that question yesterday. I just hadn't gotten around to answering it yet. And I personally have never owned. The lighter that you have there is a pretty uncommon lighter. Yeah, I was going to say I think old Art Henningsen, he might have one. He might have several, I don't know. Again, here we talk about, I remember the last time, or one of the last live streams we did, I was thanking old Henningsen for his lighter posts on the dependableflame.com Facebook group. And here it is about 6 months later or so, and he's still posting new photos of lighters there and on other pages, other Facebook groups. So thank you for that, old Henningsen. I have enjoyed seeing all of your collection that we have seen so far. Okay, on the most recent video, it makes sense. So how do you guys feel about using parts from AliExpress and all that kind of stuff for your old lighters? Does that put a damper on your process a little bit? Or are you just glad to get the lighter back up and running? We're going to let that one sit for a minute. Cheese the Fish, glad that you've joined us. Don't remember you being with us before. I have never owned an ST DuPont lighter. They look like great lighters. Like I said, I think this is kind of a clonal one. And I would love to own one, especially if I could get one with a jet torch that was more dependable than the other butane lighters that I have had and used. So I'm open to it, but I don't work on butane lighters at all. So the only way that I really obtain old butane lighters is when they're in lots with other petrol lighters that I'm buying. And you know how that works. About 99.9% of the time they leak out of either the top or the bottom. Sometimes they leak out of the top and the bottom. And that's just it's just a nuisance that up till this point in time I haven't really gotten involved in. One of these days, maybe. Yeah, I'm kind of confused about the whole thing about the conflict, and this isn't really a political, or I don't even know if political is the right word, but I don't mind you asking the question. And I would say, I don't want to dwell on it. As a Christian, I think it is important to, I think that Israel is God's people, God's chosen people, but at the same time, they've been living in open rebellion to God for at least 2,000 years, rejecting the Messiah. So I don't know exactly what the right thing is. I really don't. Like I said, as a Christian, I generally think that we should support Israel, but at the same time, I'm not going to say that every single thing that Israel does is right, because I have a hard time believing that that's the case when they're openly living outside of God's will. Forgetting which ones I've fueled here. I don't know if something about the vector gas, some of these Ronson jet lights over the years have just gotten to where they won't ignite. But maybe I could adjust it down a little bit. Maybe it still needs to calm down a little bit. Yeah, old Henningsen, I actually do have an old, I believe it was branded Chief, and it was a kickstart mechanism. I don't remember 100% where I acquired it from, but it's a newer lighter. It works well enough, but I don't know if that lighter would actually, if any of the springs or anything on it would actually be compatible with the old lighters. Typically I turn these up and then just all the way up and then just a shade back down. Definitely no fuel left in that one. Okay, getting back to the chat here. Gary says, I need to get a can of Vector. All I've used so far is Ronson. You know, I got a can of Ronson on. Maybe I need to. It's about empty. It may be empty. Doesn't sound like there's anything in there. But I wonder, even though I've got these two jet lights that are still working fine, these were all brand new when I started using them. And can't remember now whether I'd fueled this one yet or not. No, that wasn't what I was saying at all, I don't think, Daldul. Not saying that I support Jewish beliefs. I support Christian beliefs. But I believe as a Christian, you know, we all, Jews and Christians both use the Old Testament. But the Jews don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah. But again, like I said, I believe that the nation of Israel is God's chosen people. But exactly what that means to a Christian nowadays, you know, I don't know. I think all I'm saying is I don't know that as a Christian you can just blindly say everything that the Jewish, that the country, the nation of Israel does, that you can justify it. That's all I'm saying. Old Henningsen says, no problem. He likes, oh, you're saying you like to show them. Gotcha. I appreciate you showing them off over in the dependableflame.com group and also in the other groups as well. I frequent all those Facebook lighter groups that I can find. I'm a member of, I can't even count how many of them, and it seems like there are more showing up every day. And there's definitely some crossover on some of them, but you know, it's kind of like the way I feel about YouTube channels that promote lighter collecting or repairing lighters or using them or whatever, just related to petrol lighters or cigarette lighters at all. The more the merrier. Should have been keeping track of which ones of these I filled up first. Sure doesn't look like any of these other four are going to work, which is a little bit disappointing. But you can hear how that... One thing I've noticed about this Vector gas is it seems like it is... like it puts the lighter under more pressure, to the point that sometimes when you release your actuating button, it will keep leaking gas for a longer period of time. So, I don't know. Maybe some of these prefer what I believe to be inferior Ronson or Zippo fuel, but I don't really think that's the case, because in my memory, I don't remember these jet lights being all that. I think my opinion of the jet light was more negative than positive back when I was only using Ronson. But whatever. So Natsu, you're saying you're skeptical of buying those, what do you call it, aftermarket parts or lighters to use in an old lighter. O. Henningsen says he prefers... Excuse me, I had to cough there. O. Henningsen said he prefers the originals, but they can be hard to find. That is absolutely true. You know, what did I do with it? When I got this lighter in the mail, and I didn't end up opening, got it on Friday and didn't open it until yesterday, but the spring that pops it open back there, the original spring that was in it was missing the little stopper on top of it, and it was too short, so it just kind of, it had play. So I replaced it with an old Flint spring that I had. It's not perfect. I kept the original for reference, and it obviously, this Cygnus is not a lighter I'm going to be selling, but I like to keep them as original as possible. But, you know, what are you going to do if you don't have a replacement old part? You're going to replace it with whatever you can come up with that may be new. And, you know, I think if it's a lighter that you're going to sell, you just need to disclose that. But if it's for your own personal collection, just you using that lighter, I don't have a huge problem with it. But I would definitely be hesitant to do that with a lighter I was going to be selling. And if I did, I would feel like I needed to disclose that, for sure. See if I can adjust some of these up and down. Okay, well that one's working. So we will put it over here in the pile with those other three. Turn it all the way down. Doesn't sound like there's any gas coming out. Okay, let's see back here on the chat. Yeah, if you can find somebody on eBay that's got a spring, then obviously that'd be great. But, you know, there's also people that believe that those old springs, you know, if they've been sitting there under pressure for all these years, that they may be damaged just from that. So I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is. Like I said, I think the main thing is if you're going to sell it, you need to disclose it, whatever you've replaced it with, whether it be an old replacement part or a new replacement part. But as far as if it's just for your personal collection, then I think that's just personally up to each individual. Now, you're not bothering me, Daldul. You know, like I said, I'm just not really qualified to answer questions like that. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to make any political statements or anything like that. You know, there's protests going on all over the country right now. Now you got them at, rather than just on college campuses, at commencement ceremonies and things like that. So like I said, to me, it's just more confusion. I'm not saying I know what the right thing is, but I am pretty certain that this lighter isn't going to work no matter where I position this. Seems like in the past when I've had it kind of, it's acting like it wants to fire up there. Seems like by just getting a little bit less gas in there that would help. But we go too far down, then it's not going to let out any gas at all. So kind of like I said about not having any of the answers for the Israel and Palestinian thing, that's kind of the way I feel about these butane lighters. So we got the two that were already working. I can't even remember now which one of these it was. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and put those in my little kit bag. And then these others we might give another go here in a minute. And I think I'll clear these butane lighters out of here and get one of the other containers out. See if I can show Daldul some of my personal collection here that he was wanting to see earlier. Let me catch up with the live chat here. You guys feel free to tell me what you're drinking. Any of you guys drinking coffee this morning? I thought the professor might appreciate it if he joined us, but I haven't heard from him yet. But I'm drinking sugar-free A&W root beer. "70 years of Zippos, huh?" So what are we going from there, Gary? 54 to now, or what are your 70 years? Oh, 55 to 2024. Wow. Well, that's quite an achievement. I wonder, that makes, obviously I don't have anywhere near, I don't even have 70 Zippos, let alone 70 years of them. But I do wonder if I've had, how many years of Zippos I've had. I had a 1949 Town and Country Geese, 1949 or 50. I doubt if I've even owned every year of Zippo, let alone have them in my collection. Yeah, nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back there. That's sort of what collecting lighters is about, is setting a theme or or you know, sometimes it's a theme, sometimes it's a series of years. Like, you know, some people collect their own years, some people, you know, collect their name, whatever. But it's all fun. Well, thank you, Natsu. I appreciate you saying that. What kind of, what videos of mine have you watched that helped you repair lighters? Trying to remember the very first. I mean, I think we've got hundreds of repair videos at this point. We've published over, probably getting close to 1,100 videos at this point. Over 1,000 for sure. You know, the first repair videos that I made were kind of generic type repair videos. How to wick a lighter. But then as time went on, I just kept getting more and more questions. You know, I would think that most people could look at one lighter being re-wicked and figure out how to do that with pretty much any other lighter. It's just, you know, different challenges depending on, you know, sometimes you got a wick that goes in here and comes out the bottom. Sometimes you've got a closed tank, maybe a slip case where you got to go in from underneath. You've got insert type like Zippos. You've got Ronson type, but an aluminum block roller lighter like the Cygnus, and then you take, well, let me see what I can find here. Uh-oh. Dropping stuff off the table back here. So here's 3 different types of lighters. Here's an insert style lighter. Obviously, re-wicking that one's going to be pretty easy, not hard to get to. But, you know, the principles between re-wicking these 2 lighters are the same. But a lot of people, for whatever reason, they get too confused at watching you re-wick this lighter. And the idea that this lighter or this wick, this lighter works too well, I can't just raise the snuffer without it lighting, but you're always going to send the wick down the chimney and then pull it through from the bottom, and then put your wadding back in through the fuel hole, packed in there with the wick. That's the same in both of these lighters. It's just that the shape of the lighter is different. Same thing with like a case lighter, like a Ronson Master Case. You're going to fuel it on the side, and then it's going to, yeah, you're going to fuel those on the side, and then the wick is going to be at a 90-degree angle from that. It's just different angles. But it's all about putting the wick down the chimney, pulling it through the fuel hole, and then repacking it back in there from the bottom with your absorbent material, cotton, rayon, whatever it is you happen to use. I may have got off on a tangent there. I'm sorry if I did. I was just trying to answer a question. Or actually not answer a question, trying to illustrate how I got to making videos. And so there's a lot of times where, you know, if I were to make a re-wicking video for this lighter, it would seem unnecessary to me because I've already made a Ronson Adonis video for re-wicking it. And this is just kind of an intermediate size version of a Ronson Adonis. But over time I've gotten to where, rather than think that way, I just, when somebody asks, or actually I've just gotten to where most of the time if I'm doing a project, I just try to go ahead and video it, even if I've done that exact project before. And I'm getting a little warning, 20% warning on my phone, so we'll see. Let me try something here. You guys tell me if there is a noticeable difference in the sound. Okay. Do we still have sound? Can you guys still hear me? But that's kind of my goal with the repair videos, and that too is trying to demonstrate the principles. You know, petrol lighters are pretty simple. You know, obviously an insert style lighter, nothing to that. Peeling back a little felt pad, pulling the felt pad off. It's easy to get to the wadding, the wick. But you got closed tank lighters and other type lighters where you can't see that stuff. It's not so easy to get to. Small, tiny hole that you're pulling everything out of. Need a screwdriver for that one. Thank you, guys. Cleaner sound, huh? Well, maybe I don't need the microphone. When I'm recording the video, I've tested it out here and there, and it seems like the sound that I get just straight off the phone is not good. But you know, that's the challenge with the closed tank lighter is you're gonna have to pull all that wadding and the wick out that tiny little hole. It's a little bit more difficult, but really, even though it looks a little bit different and it's a lot harder to get to, it's still the same basic principles as the insert style Zippo type lighters. Like this, I just hit my camera there. Like this Life lighter. Can't remember if the shorts or the video for that lighter have been published yet. Probably not. Cleaner, are you saying you is your background in radio, Gary? Yeah, I agree with you, Natsu. When I first started 7, 8 years ago, it seemed like there were lighters just all over the place. It was just a matter of me having enough money to buy, you know, having money available to buy. Now it seems like it is more and more difficult. The vast majority of what I buy is still, you know, in groups, basically lots of lighters. But it's harder and harder to even find big groups of quality lighters because there's so much competition in those. Not just eBay. You know, stuff shows up on Facebook Market and you respond and somebody's already gotten a hold of them. There are secondary estate sale auction sites, and I buy through those places. But, you know, it's a lot of looking. It's a lot of, you got to look a lot harder these days, it seems like, to find good deals, that's for sure. But it is a lot of fun. Yeah, well, see, that's a lighter too, like the Crown or the other Ronson table lighters. You know, once you've done one of those, then they're all about the same. Commercial at 18. Can you clarify for me what that means, Gary? Oh, you're talking about the radio. Got your first ham radio. What does that mean, ham ticket? That give you the authority to operate a ham radio? What's that mean, ticket? But the Beatty Jets too, Natsu, those are, man, I probably owned about 20 of those. Those are some fun lighters. I've got a, where'd it go? There it is. I don't have a Beatty Jet right at the moment, but I do have this Rogers Rocket Flame. Same basic idea, just set up a little bit differently. So do you still repair radios, Gary? Yeah, Rafe, by the way, Rafe Elman, glad that you're with us. Thank you for joining us. But that is the bad thing about any old petrol lighter is the degraded flint. You know, it's not all that difficult to where the vast majority of the time you can just drill them out. But, you know, some lighters, especially those aluminum Park Industries inserts, the flint tubes in those things just seem to cling to the degraded flint. And I've had several of them that I just had to give up on. I've got one right now that I've got 30% concentrated vinegar that I dropped down the tube, because I've had a few that if you just bathe them in the tube, then it'll loosen the joint between the insert and the flint tube to where it just spins. And that's not good. Or it gets just hanging there all loose. So I was trying to see if I can just drop it straight down the tube and just let it eat the degraded flint away, but I've had it in there all day so far, and last time I looked, nothing had just dropped out the tube. I got it sitting upside down with the 30% concentrated vinegar just resting in that tube. So you are a retired, that's what you did for a living then, Gary, was repair radios? That's pretty cool, man. Is that the kind of job where you were your own boss, or did you work for somebody for that period of time? Those are the three that we're still unsure about. Let me get some of these other lighters out of the way, and I'll cycle some more from my personal collection up here. There's definitely some blurred lines right at the moment as far as what is my personal collection and what is going to be sold, because I haven't been able to sell anything for a few weeks, and even before that I was already behind. And you know, some of it may be in my personal collection until I just need the money. And that's just kind of the nature of it. Like I said, I've gotten to the point now where there's a lot of stuff that will stay in my personal collection because it was given to me as a gift. You guys probably saw the video, I think it was last Friday. This Zippo that was gifted to me from my buddy. Man, I really need to have to get something white to put up here so I don't have so I can get a favorable reflection, basically. with the Indian in the headdress for Comanche Supply Company of Oklahoma. Really cool lighter. I think it was 84, 83, 84, somewhere in there. That will be part of my personal collection as a gift from my buddy Gavin. And I've already got a few other Slims here in my collection. This local Oklahoma City advertiser I've had for a few months. Then, of course, the, I can't remember, 71 or 72 Slim with the name Jack on it that I bought in honor of my dad. That was not my dad's name, but my dad got pissed off and you were about to feel his wrath. There was a good chance that he was going to call you by that name. And then one that I found with my name on it. And I didn't buy that specifically because it had my name on it, I don't believe. I think it came in a group of other lighters. But I have bought one or two since then. There's another one. Is in my personal collection, this ASR, and it's not fueled, but it's also missing a snuffer cup on it, which I need to try to figure out how to replace at some point. So those are all lighters from my personal collection. Not really so for the Rogers Rocket Flame. I'm just still tinkering around with this one before I sell it. May need a little fuel. Let me get back to the chat here. Okay. So you worked on law enforcement radios. Also built towers. I know a little bit about that. I started in my working life working for my grandfather, and not only was he not a very good boss, he also ran off everybody, whoever worked for him at some point. And that was pretty much all of his family. So I understand how that works. I hope that your father was a better dude than my grandfather, Gary. Yeah, I think the thing you'll find in that regard, Rafe, as far as the curved flint tubes, even when you can, like the Evans, I'm trying to think if all of them have straight flint tubes. Most of them have straight flint tubes, but it's still better. It's still easier to take the mechanism apart and clean it out, because otherwise you end up with a lot of debris up there. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't mind the mechanism part as much as I do. I kind of find the mechanism part a challenge, taking it apart and putting it back together. But the clearing of the flint tube is just a hassle and a chore. It's the mundane part of it that I don't really enjoy. Yeah, I wondered about that. We've got Comanche County, which I believe is down in southwestern Oklahoma. Took away my background there a while ago. Anyway, that says Comanche Supply Company of Oklahoma. So I was thinking that maybe it was down around Lawton somewhere. And I believe there are several other Comanche named businesses down around there. But somebody sent me a message last week and said that there was a pin advertising the same company that had a P.O. box for Tulsa. And when I went and looked it up, it not only did it have a P.O. box for Tulsa, it also had a P.O. box here in Oklahoma City, which was right at the Center City Post Office, which is, I don't know, 5-6 blocks from where I'm sitting right now. So I still need to do a little bit more research into exactly what kind of, and I think that was, I can't remember now whether that was an oil company or what that was. or if it even said. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Gary. uh, which lighter are you talking about that you love? That Comanche? That's pretty cool to me. I'm interested in anything that's got a local connection. And I think Gavin said that he had bought this lighter off of eBay from an Oklahoma seller sometime in the last 6 months here. Yeah, I like the slims. I like carrying slims. I carry this one all the time. I When I first got this one, I carried it a lot. A lot. This was my main lighter for a long time. And this other one, I actually got a message the other day from a fellow named Franco Bonelli who was telling me that about how he had replaced some hinge pins, and I need to look into that. I'm wondering if I can repair or not repair, improve my situation here by putting another pin in there, or if that needs to be rewelded. I don't really want to send it in and have them muck up the spine here with new tack marks if I could tighten it up by just entering or just by putting a new pin in it. But I've never done that. Most of the stuff that I haven't done, the reason I haven't done it is because I'm a seller. I would rather just note the imperfection in the listing, and that way the buyer is aware of it. But when it comes to these lighters that are part of my personal collection, I don't see any harm in repairing those however I see fit. But we'll see. I've got a few other full-size Zippos that are kind of in the same boat. See what else I can dig up here. Hello, Austin Payne. Glad to have you with us. Austin says, I love your work, and I also collect all different types of lighters, and I used to live in Wilburton, Oklahoma, back in 2018 till August 2021. Glad to have you with us. And yeah, Oklahoma's a great place to live. Wilburton, is that down, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank. Is that down around McAllister, southeastern Oklahoma? Hello, Professor. Glad to have you with us. I mentioned earlier that if you joined us, that you would probably appreciate the fact that I was having a root beer here as we have our discussion. I haven't had a cup of coffee since the last live stream we did, and I don't know, coffee just doesn't really appeal to me that much these days, but I have been drinking some sugar-free root beer here and there. That and water is about all I ever drink. Almond milk. Well, I spent 25 years at the U.S. Postal Service, so I've kind of got places around the state clustered by zip code, so that's why I had a vague idea it was. I don't know if I've ever actually been through Wilburton or not, but I've spent a lot of time in southeastern Oklahoma. I've hunted all over Pushmataha County, and I've hunted down around Antlers, Honubby, Oklahoma, Weyerhaeuser land up there, pretty much my whole life. Ray Feldman says, do you collect other lighter tobacco-related items? I have quite a collection of 30s, 40s tobacco trading card albums, as well as cigar, band, and matchbook albums. Just a big collector in general. I'm interested in all that stuff, Rafe. Sorry, I may have about jerked my cord out of the camera there. I'm a big fan of all that stuff. I have a pretty good sized collection of ashtrays. I need to thin some of those out too. Um, I don't have any cigar bands or matchbooks or tobacco trading cards, but I was big baseball card, sports cards guy when I was younger. Not just a child, but even younger in adulthood. So yeah, I'm interested in that stuff, even though it's not really been a focus of my collection or anything like that. I am interested in seeing that kind of stuff. I love the old tobacco brands. But one thing that I just realized here in the last, it's been well, maybe last year or so, there's a new Facebook group, and I'm not sure exactly who started it. I thought it was Tom O'Key, but it may be a guy named Carl McMullen, or maybe both of those guys are admins on that page. But it's called Vintage Lighters and Matches. And through that page, I was introduced to a page called something like the Wrath Camp Matchbook Society or something like that. Anyway, on both those pages, I have seen several matchbooks that really get me to thinking that it's cool to me that you'll have matchbooks where you flip up the cover and there's a scene printed on the matches in some of those old matchbooks. That's something I'd be really interested in. I believe I know that the tobacco trading cards at times that's a lot of the early baseball cards were from that, from tobacco packages. Also, um, different kind. I mean, I think I've seen like automobiles and maybe animals and maybe state parks. It's like there's all kinds of themes of tobacco cards, isn't there? Got my container down. It's all this stuff to show you guys some of it. And then I set it down out of reach. All right. Did you guys see the video on this the other day with the rolling papers? Prince Albert rolling papers inside? I think it was a short that I did on that last week. Here's another auto Penguin Cygnus. Looks like those are a little bit different color gold tone. Both of them advertising. With just simple text on the back spine. And this one doesn't stay closed as it should all the way. This one does. Seems a little bit more crisp in its function. Both of them have inset screws, but their markings are different. This one is marked Automat Cygnus with the patent. This one is just marked Penguin Cygnus. Those are two of the more recent Penguin Cygnus additions to our collection. Here's a really cool lighter that's part of my personal collection, and one that I will probably never be able to get rid of, simply because out of all the lighters that I have, this is the one that is going to interest my wife the most. She thought this was pretty cool. This was a crew gift lighter from Matthew McConaughey to somebody on the set of Ed TV. Yeah, well, I agree with you that it's one of the best, uh, Professor, but I wouldn't touch it if it had sugar in it. So this right here, I mean, honestly, um, it's to my taste buds. I don't taste it. It just tastes like sugar to me. It's sweet, no aftertaste. I don't know what happened to every soda when I was growing up, the aftertaste, and this is still aspartame in here, not stevia leaf or erythritol or anything like that. But especially with the erythritol, stevia leaf, monk fruit sweetener, all those, there's no aftertaste at all. No chemically taste, kind of like, I don't know if y'all remember that back in the day. I think you're quite a bit younger than me anyway, aren't you, Professor? I uh, I did turn 53 a little short of a month ago. So I'm a little bit older now than I was the last time that we had a live stream. But anyway, this is a really cool lighter. Not brand new. I bought this from a seller in England, and it actually disappeared when it entered customs, and I didn't get another scan on it. But it finally did show up at my door. But I really like that lighter a lot. Really cool. If anybody else has other Matthew McConaughey crew gift lighters, I would be interested in um, talking to you about them. If you want to sell them, you might want to trade. Yeah, I know aspartame's but it's not got the same problems that the sugar has for me. What are you saying about stevia, Dylan? I use quite a bit of stevia, erythritol, monk fruit. I kind of use those three interchangeably. See what else we got here. We got one here that was also a gift, courtesy of our friend Sean in the UK. I've got some other table models, but this is a convertible table model. Has a stand. You can pull it off the stand and put it in your pocket and carry it with you. Same basic size as a pocket model. The ribs on the automatic version are bigger, wider, and fewer than the ribs on the pocket or the regular non-automatic models. Oh man, can't remember if I had that one when we did the last live stream or not. That is my newest one of a different hue, pink. Really like that one. Yeah, oh man, you're a lot younger than me then. Yeah, 20 years. Netsu says it was fun hanging out and talking with you guys. Got to head out to work. Y'all have a good afternoon. You too as well. I hope that your work goes well. We'll try to, I don't know that I will, probably won't be able to do a live stream next week, but maybe we can work one in every other week. Maybe I can figure out a way to do it every week. Just on one of the days, or if there is a day when I'm not watching the kids. But appreciate you joining us, Natsu, and hopefully you will join us again. See what else we got here. This is one of my other favorites. Is Daldul still with us? He was the one that asked me to show off some of my personal collection. This is a really cool one too. I believe that is an enamel painted design of Mount Fuji. Really cool. Not a perfect lighter. It's got some blemishes to the paint, but man. No, you haven't missed any live streams. Oh, you mean you've missed me having them? I got you. Yeah, I've missed them too. But I've used the time wisely, trying to get a queue of videos so that we've got video, long form and short videos coming out every weekday, Monday through Friday. That's a really cool lighter, though, that, I'm not big on lighters that are damaged, but when you got such a unique lighter, a little bit of damage isn't the worst thing in the world. I'd rather have this lighter with this damage than not have it at all. But I have also started keeping this one. The others, not so much. I'm not, they're anodized aluminum. The anodized aluminum, I think, can probably fade if it's exposed to the right light, but maybe not as fragile as the painted ones. There's a green tone, one of my old favorites. Got several advertising models. This is an advertiser for Flying A truck stops and Tidewater Oil Company that I traded for with a gentleman named Shell Champion. He runs a auction and deal or no deal site for various different vintage items on Facebook. I'm thinking that our friend Doll Duel has left us now, though, so there's kind of a champagne or rose gold tone. That one is marked Prince rather than Penguin Cygnus. So we call that Cygnus adjacent. That one's got a dragon on it. Here we got a little short model. We've got advertisers. We got all kinds of Cygnuses. Got the two automatics over here. But I've got other lighters that are in my personal collection as well. This is a lighter that I found at the farmhouse after my grandfather died. I don't know if it was ever used by my grandfather or grandmother. Like I said, I've got a couple of ashtrays that belong to her. A few ashtrays that belong to her, actually. But I think this was probably something that somebody gave one of them. I don't know what Gemini Products Inc., what kind of products those were. If it was farm products, and that might make sense that my grandfather would have had it. My grandmother worked at the cotton gin when I was a young child. Worked various other jobs over the years. Glad you joined us, Professor. Like I said, we'll try to do this. Maybe we can work one in every week, but we'll definitely try to do it every other. Hop on for a little bit in the afternoon, maybe. I notice I haven't seen any ZF77 outdoor live streams lately. I know J-Row Lights did one or two in the last couple of weeks. Trying to remember. Yeah, actually, I don't remember the last time. I was in one of J-Row Lights live streams. That was probably the only live stream I've been in since November 29th, the last time that I did one. You guys make sure to get over and join the Facebook group, dependableflame.com. It's a great place to ask any questions you need to ask. You got repair questions, then I'll see those over there. But a lot of times, somebody else will see it before I get to it and answer your question. But there are other, I try to, if I see somebody asking a question about a certain lighter, here a while back in the Thorns group, somebody asked a question about the Thorns double claw. So I put together a video of replacing the claw spring in a Thorns double claw lighter. But, it doesn't always require somebody putting together a video. Sometimes it's just a matter of pointing you to a video that's already been made, or maybe even just explaining how something needs to be done. It's not always so difficult. Hello, Melminger. Glad that you have joined us. He asks, hey, any idea why my King lighter won't spark? I cleaned everything and I think the gas doesn't come out. Could it be clogged? Are you talking about a butane lighter? If you're talking about a butane lighter, then no, I don't really know. I test every old butane lighter that I find or that I purchase along with the petrol lighters, but all that I really repair are petrol lighters. I don't replace O-rings or valves, or I've never gotten into all that. It's just strictly petrol for me. So I'm sorry, but no, I won't be any help in figuring out why your butane lighter. Oh, you say it won't spark. What kind of the King lighter? What kind of lighter is that? Is it a automatic lighter like a Ronson type mechanism? I might be able to help you figure out why it won't spark. But now, you're saying you cleaned everything and the gas doesn't come out. That sounds like a different problem than a spark. Austin says the only reason he moved back to his home state is because of his father's health. So he moved back closer to family. Yeah, I definitely can understand that. We were talking about my dad earlier and Huntington's disease, and I was not his caregiver when he was suffering from that disease, but I did help. We all helped at different times, and it's definitely difficult as we get older, our parents get older, and we got several members of our audience who are in a similar boat, Austin. And, I'll pray for you. And, it's difficult, man. It's not an easy thing to do to take care of your parents. It's not an easy thing to need to do or to even find yourself in that position. But it's kind of like taking care of kids. I don't think it's anything that you're ever going to regret either. I am extremely thankful to have my hands full with as much work as I do. And I've got lighter projects just sitting around every corner of this apartment that will keep me busy for however long I want to be busy and however long the Lord leaves me here. Just like you can see with this aluminum block lighter. Really cool. I like the way it's rounded off, but it's just a frustrating lighter. I've never been able to get it to light reliably. Probably need to replace the wick. Haven't done that yet. But I just fueled it up earlier. It's got fuel in it. Just won't light reliably. So anyway, I'm thankful to have all the work, but I'm also thankful to have control of my own time and not have to work for a boss who tells me I got to be there 40 hours a week or whatever it is, this time every day, from this hour to that hour, and to be able to spend as much time with my grandkids as I do, and not just my grandkids, but other family as well. So it's good to have family around for sure. Now, hello, Azrael. Glad to have you with us, my friend. And seeing you reminded me that I saw somebody say hello to NAFTA earlier. How's it going, NAFTA? Haven't heard from you. If you're still here, that's been even longer than the last video or live stream we did, I think. But glad to have so many of you joining us. We've had several new people here today as well. Austin, Melminger, Natsu, Daldul. But then we've had several of the several of our old friends join us as well. Dylan DePie, the professor. Ray Feldman was another new one. Austin. Of course, Gary's been around here for a long time. Old Henningsen. Rafe Ellman. So I really appreciate all you guys. I know it was short notice today. Cheese the Fish. Mark Burris. So definitely glad. Appreciate all you guys. Yeah, that's really rough, Austin. I'm sorry to hear that. So your dad collected lighters, huh? Now that's cool. You know, my dad didn't collect lighters, but he would have gotten a kick out of this whole thing. What I got to watch where I'm putting stuff back here. I'm putting things back into the container here in places where I'm not going to find it. But my dad worked on cars. I published a video probably 6 months ago about my dad. Several pictures of his old cars. My dad was a mechanic. He was a problem solver. He was very intelligent. And I know he would have loved, he would have got a kick out of what I'm doing with these lighters for sure. But I'm sorry to hear that your dad passed so early there, Austin. That's definitely not enough time with your old man. Yeah, been a while, Azrael, for sure. But it's been a while for all of us because I have not published or have not done a live stream since November 29th. And I was explaining earlier, I think I've got videos, full-length videos in queue up through like the 22nd of June right now. And I got other videos that, you know, I'm still making videos. For the most part, I'm not watching my grandkids this week, so I get a little bit of opportunity to stack up a few more videos, but also trying to keep a short in queue for every weekday, Monday through Friday. So you should be able to expect 2 videos every day, a long at least 8-minute video and a short video, which won't be over a minute. And then maybe we can throw in a live stream every week there as well. Yeah, weather is nice here too, NAFTA. We've had a lot of rain this week, and I think we may even have more later. I don't know, but it is super out there today. Sunny, nice. I had to plug the camera in earlier, so every now and then I accidentally run into the cord. So I apologize if the camera is jerking. Yeah, I just saw it there on where I'm monitoring the stream. As I mentioned earlier, my dad didn't collect lighters, but he did Now, I spent my youth in the garage with my dad, repairing cars, passing him a wrench, holding the light. And I bought this lighter in honor of him. And I've got several others that were in honor of him as well. This particular lighter, advertising Smirnoff vodka, I bought because sort of an inside joke because of my old man hunting one year. Back when I was still drinking, I can't even remember what all we were drinking. Probably at that point in time, mostly beer. There might have been some whiskey involved, but somebody had brought some schnapps, and my dad kept turning it down. Well, then once everything else had run away or had run out, once all the beer and whiskey was gone, he started saying, "Who's got the Smirnoff?" He wanted to know who had the Smirnoff. Well, it wasn't Smirnoff. It was, oh crap, can't remember the name. What I just said now. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, that's why I bought that lighter. Relates to my dad. I got several others here as well. Couple of Ford advertising lighters because of my dad. One of them a Park, the other one a Conwall Super. This one in honor of my dad. This is just a lighter I found here locally, which is marked Crestcraft, even though I'm sure it was made by Park Industries. With an enameled emblem on it. It says Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Tinker Air Force Base, Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Pretty cool. Here's a neat little pocket ashtray that belonged to my grandmother. That is part of my personal collection. But yeah, it's, it's cool. It's cool for me just to find lighters that relate to my dad, my uncles, my, other family members. But it's also cool to have lighters that actually belong to your dad. And I've got several that belong to my dad. I just fueled this one up last night when we walked down to smoke, and that is Crestcraft. See, here you have Crestcraft. It says made in Japan. Here's one made in USA. So I think actually, Crestcraft must have been a brand that didn't actually make their lighters. They must have contracted them through other companies. But the cool thing is, this is a lighter that actually belonged to my father. I don't know when he first came into possession of it. Late 60s, early 70s, I'm guessing. But for my birthday, my son-in-law and daughter gave me this identical Crestcraft lighter, which has an emblem of a soldier with a rifle in his hands. Looks like he has the rifle in the ready position and he's running. And it says Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which is where my father went to basic training. So this is the kind of thing that fuels my collection. I can see lighters all day long. I can appreciate them. I can get them back up and running. I can love them, and I can still sell them. Sell them and appreciate them at the same time. But then something like this, that's the kind of thing that I want to add to my personal collection. I don't have room. I know there are people who say, "Oh no, I'd never sell it. I'd never sell a lighter." I don't have room. I don't have room for what I got, let alone collecting more. That lighter doesn't have fuel in it right at the moment. But yeah, that was a really cool gift that my son-in-law actually saw me mention this lighter in a video and went and found it and bought it. And then they gave it to me for my birthday. Really cool. See if I missed anything on the live chat here. It's been so long since we've done a stream, I'm forgetting all the proper terminology. Well, I appreciate you guys joining us today. And like I said, we will try to do it again next week. I can tell you now, though, for a fact that you will see, for the foreseeable future anyway, you will see a live or a long form video published each weekday morning at 8 a.m. And then at noon, we publish a short video, typically anywhere from about 30 seconds to a minute long, although occasionally they'll be even shorter than that. This ashtray, I don't know what, I'm assuming that was advertising. I don't know if that might have been Crown Royal or something like that, but this is a crackle finish. Really cool. Similar to the Black Crackle Zippos. So keep your eyes open for a video every weekday morning, the longer one at 8 a.m., short video at noon. Get over and join the DependableFlame.com Facebook group. It's a lot of camaraderie, great place to ask questions or to show off your lighters, whatever the case may be. I publish, or I share our YouTube links over there. I also share other links that I find around Facebook at different times. If I see a lighter on another page that's shareable and I really like it, then I might go ahead and share it over there to the DependableFlame.com Facebook page. And you should feel free to do that as well. Share whatever you like over there. Your own posts, other related lighter kind of posts, Tobacciana, any of this stuff that we've been talking about, matchbooks, anything, remotely involving or related to this hobby. I'd be glad to see you post that over there. Also, something else is posting lighters over there for potential trade. It's been a while, but I've worked several trades on that DependableFlame.com Facebook group. Worked one with Friedrich Deal. Worked one with David Ward. Seems like there were a couple others, but anyway, just another idea of what you might be able to use that Facebook group for. Thank you, Gary. Glad that you made it. I appreciate all you guys stopping by and participating. Glad to see NAFTA from Tulsa again. Dylan from New York. Azriel all the way from Indonesia. And of course, all you newcomers as well. And Austin, Melminger, Professor's Garage. He's not new, but he was with us today. And I think I called off everybody else's name earlier. So I appreciate you all. And I look forward to it again. If you have an idea, if you want me to have a particular topic or discussion for a live stream, you might just hit me up. The DependableFlame.com Facebook group is a great place to hit me up in that regard as well. But, there's also email. You can even text me. That's on the Contact Us page. But in general, the Facebook group is the place that you're going to get my attention the quickest, kind of a centralized place where I can communicate with everybody a little bit more easily. old Arp Henningsen is an old regular over there. He's probably posted more on that dependableflame.com Facebook group than anybody other than me. He might have even given me a run for my money at one point. Glad that you were with us, old Arp, and hopefully you can join us next time, along with everybody else. Anybody got any questions before I go? Anything urgent that we need to get to today? Anything I need to pull out and show off? Did I mention pulling any lighters out that I haven't? Here's another one that belonged to my dad. I don't know that he ever used it. More found in his stuff. But still cool to have any kind of old lighter that you can use that belonged to a loved one that has passed. Well, all right, go ahead, Austin. I will try to get to you as quick as possible. You can, several ways that you can get a hold of me. Like I said, on the Contact Us page, I've kind of got them listed over there in the order that that are easiest to get a hold of me. Or, well, maybe not the easiest to get a hold of me. But the top is definitely the dependableflame.com Facebook group. But you can also private message me over on Facebook. You can send me a text. You can send me an email. Emails tend to kind of get lost here and there, though. It's definitely not the first place I look or the quickest or the easiest for me to respond to. But I appreciate all the communication, however you guys do it. And if we don't hook up so well the first time, we'll try to get it worked out eventually. But appreciate you guys joining us. See if I got a lighter here I can light up to sign off. Until next time.